Winning Shot family, listen, it is July 25th in the year of our Lord 2026, and we have some exciting news. LeBron James has finally selected a team, his new organization that he's going to be a part of. And I'm not enthused, Hundo. Yet again, we deal with this. We're going to get into a lot of topics this episode. Like always, we want you to like, share, and subscribe. Last episode, we talked about the Eastern Conference teams, but today we want to focus strictly on the Western Conference. But before we start any of that, brother, what were your thoughts about Braun selecting the Philadelphia 76ers?
I'm not mad at it, bro. I'm not mad at it. The man clearly wants to win. Trying to get another championship. I guess he thought Philly was gonna be his best option. So we gonna see how it go. He didn't. It looked like he took a close to a vet min, like he wanted him to. He didn't get a buku amount of money, even though $8 million is a lot to a lot of people. But he took a $8 million deal for 2 years with a player option on the second year, and he pretty much said, "Yo, this is last go. This is last go round. This is last stop." So we're gonna see what happens in Philly, man.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard the news, LeBron James decided to take a 2-year, $8 million deal with Philadelphia 76ers. If you've been under a rock, then you know in the past, well, let me update you. In the past couple of weeks, Philadelphia has made major moves. They've gotten Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, and now they formed a super team with Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. And they also picked up Anthony Simons in the offseason and free agency. So here's my thoughts. I think the LeBron to Philadelphia just didn't feel right. I had him going to Cleveland. I thought it was just going to be the storybook ending. But even in those Photoshop pictures that I see, it just didn't feel like this is going to be the last journey for LeBron. And the fact that he wants to end it this way, it's him saying that I know I probably am not going to be able to get the 6 rings and beat like LeBron. Michael Jordan in terms of the GOAT conversation. But I feel like he can have more leverage by winning a championship with 4 different organizations because Michael Jordan has never done that. I think in terms of Philadelphia's history, I don't necessarily consider him ring chasing per se, just because Philadelphia has never been to those kind of mountaintops. But the only problem I have with this team is just I think there are a lot more basketball issues that nobody's talking about just because on paper it looks good. And I feel like we did the same thing 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago with Phoenix. Like we put Book, KD, Brad Bill together and thought that they were going to walk into an NBA championship. But if you don't have the proper bench, if you don't have the adequate shooting, and if people don't fall in line with their roles, I think it could be more functional than people think. So it brings more excitement as an NBA fan. The games are going to be on much earlier, so I don't have to wait till 10 o'clock to watch any of the Western Conference teams except for Wemby and OKC. But I feel like in terms of just winning a championship, I still have a lot more teams over them.
I hear you. But I think what they're building in Philly is pretty good. They definitely contenders in the East. I definitely think they got a good chance to probably make it out the East. They definitely should be up there, barring health and everything. They should definitely be one of them top teams in the Eastern Conference. Now, we've said that about a lot of teams in recent years, specifically, Cavaliers, the Magic last year, and they didn't show up. So we gonna see. Like you said, Philly has never gotten to them heights of getting, the championship and, ring chasing in a sense. But on paper, the way that this roster is shaping out, specifically this starting 5, and like you said, Anthony Simons, if they're able to, I saw a report that said they possibly could get KCP, add some more shooting. On paper, this team should be one of the favorites to make it out of the Eastern Conference.
Do you think that Joel Embiid can stay healthy for 82 games, though? Like, in your heart of hearts?
82. I don't know, but I mean, I feel like
What?
he's coasting. Like I don't think he's gonna have that pressure of having to play 82.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
he can get them, 60, 65 and be healthy going into the postseason, they're gonna be fine with that.
yeah. I think one of the next priority items for the 76ers is kind of solidifying that backup big position. You got
Mhm.
Anthony Simon, so you got to score off the bench. I just don't know what backup bigs are on the free agent market. I was listening to a podcast and some people were throwing around the Nick Richards was a free agent. Um, I would say like a Robert Williams type of guy. Honestly, if they could have retained Andre Drummond, like that would have been a good piece. Um, and I guess the health is a concern for everybody because you signed Dean Wade, but I feel like with their current roster makeup is very guard heavy, and I just don't know how the shots are distributed amongst a lot of high volume guards. And I think people
Now you worry about the shots this week. Now this
for
week you worry about the shots.
For sure. Because the thing is, I don't think Braun's taking a back seat. He's making $8 million, but he's gonna make it up in shots. And I think everybody, once again, we had this conversation, everybody slides to the right. And there's gonna be some confused and I think some irritated people on that bench and in that locker room.
Guess what? If you irritated, one thing that we know about LeBron and any team that he's on, peace. we you don't remember what they did on the Cavaliers
But that was a different Brian.
when it was D Wade and all them boys trade deadline. Oh yeah, we got to make some moves. So if you're not happy in your role, if you think you could go somewhere and do something else, I don't think they're gonna hesitate to ship people.
So that leads me into my next question. Do you think the Philly is done in terms of making moves? Because I don't know where they fall in terms of the cap space, but I feel like if Bron's only making $4 million a year, they probably still have some money to make some moves, even make a trade if not. Some of his guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're done. I think this is going to be a conversation that we're having throughout the season. Like even if they are done right now, like if they see that they need to make some changes, because I think like what I was going to say is like Philly is in this like win now situation now. Like you add LeBron James, that speeds up the timeline. You know he only has a year or two left, so it's like okay, if we really want this championship, we got to do everything we can to try to get this championship. So
do you see him like playing both like all 2 years of the contract?
I think we got to see how this year goes. I think he's taking it year by year, literally. Like he said that at the end of the season, he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to come back and play. Like I don't know if my body is gonna be able to do it. So shoot, if he gets to the end of the season, he feel like he can give it another one. Why not? Why not get $4 more million?
Yeah.
add it to the bank. Not that he needs it, but I mean, if he feels like he can still play at a high level, compete for a championship, why not? But I think he's taking it a year to year basis.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna. I think it's really gonna fall on Nick Nurse with his team, because the thing is, as we've seen with every coach that Bron's had, he wants his guy, and Nick Nurse, I feel like is a great coach when it comes to kind of like Taylor Jenkins. If there's no expectations, I definitely expect Nick Nurse to exceed them. But with this kind of roster, which is really unprecedented, when you look at the Heat, his first year, Bron and Spo had rifts, and they were definitely looking to replace him. And I wonder, with a sense of urgency in these next 2 years in terms of Bron retiring, I just don't know. I feel like he's the X factor, and I don't know how long he's going to be around, especially if they're mediocre.
Yeah, I think if they're losing games, they're like I said, that the same thing with the roster, the same thing with the coach. Like
you can go.
Yo, if we see it's not working, peace. Because like I said, like they're trying to win. They're not in the business of confusion and going media drama. Like we're trying to win a championship here, and I
Yeah.
think one difference too between Spo in Miami when Bron first got there, and Nick Nurse is like I feel like Nick Nurse is a little bit older, a little bit more experienced. He was with the Raptors all those years. I feel like he's in a great position to try to win.
Yeah. Let's transition. Let's play a game because I was thinking about this. It the 26 Sixers are considered a super team, but I want to compare them to other rosters and other super teams to see how they stack up in the NBA history. Now, this is just fully healthy, right? Embiid healthy, Bron healthy, et cetera, et cetera. So let's start with the 2010 to 2014 Miami Heat with LeBron, D Wade, Bosh, and obviously Spo. How do you think that super team compares to this team?
I'm probably gonna take this team. I think that Heat team probably had more shooting, but I think that like in their prime, everybody healthy. You got a healthy Embiid that can get 30 or 40 a night. You got a healthy Jalen Brown that can get 30 a night. A healthy Maxi that can get 30 a night. Like if everybody's healthy and the ball is moving around, yeah, give me Philly. They gonna be hard to beat just off the strength of that starting five. You got a young VJ, versatility defensively, scoring from anywhere. There's no weakness in scoring.
Yeah, I think
And
the
who's
only
guarding Embiid?
Joel Anthony,
Barbecue chicken.
Chris Anderson. Yeah, that's the only thing. Like I feel like Maxi and even VJ. Like if VJ is your fourth scorer, he's still better than a lot of guys that were role players on that roster. Right? I'm thinking about like Norris Cole, Mario Chalmers, Shane Battier, Mike Miller. Like that's the only thing. But the only way I would like kind of lean the Heat is because that version of Braun, I think could clear a lot. And
Jalen Brown.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and Dwayne Wade towards the end was getting injured a lot, but yeah, I think I will go this Sixers team if fully healthy because I just like you said, I think nobody can stop Embiid and Maxi's a quiet 30, and I feel like that's going to be the difference. All right, let's go to the next one. So let's go to the Boston Celtics, the team, the 27 to 2012 team with KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. And I'll include Rajon Rondo in that as well with Doc Rivers.
Yeah, you better put some respect on Rondo name. Talking about something, and I'll include Rondo in there.
Well,
Like Rondo was
the list had big threes. I wouldn't include Rondo as a Celtics
fan. Once again, who's guarding Embiid? Kendrick Perkins. we got Big Perk for Embiid. Yeah, barbecue chicken. if everybody's healthy, you got Big Perk guarding Embiid. That's your matchup. Bet.
Glenn Davis.
Yeah. Let me get Philly, man. Let me get Philly.
Can't go again.
Because once again, consider this too. Ray Allen got a guard.
He does.
Who you putting him on?
Rajon has the guard.
I feel like Rondo was a solid enough defender.
Yeah, but I feel like
he's still getting cooked. But like
I was about to say, it's Christmas for Maxey. Like actually, I think, and then
Avery
you got
Bradley. They had Avery Bradley, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say Avery Bradley, but Avery Bradley is probably gonna be on JB.
Was Tony Allen on that team too?
The early ones, yeah.
They got a couple defenders to throw at them.
You get your Brandon Bass and Michael Petras, like those.
Yeah, and LeBron's cooking them. 42-year-old LeBron is cooking them. I don't care. I don't care. 42 LeBron is cooking them. Barbecue chicken.
Hey, 42-year-old Bron's gonna have flashbacks.
Is that Jason Terry under the hole? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go 2 for 2 for that. I'm gonna go to 26 Sixers as well. All right, 2017, 20. Well, let's go to the KD one. The 2017 Warriors, I believe, with obviously Dre, Steph, Clay, KD, and then you get like Andre Iguodala and all the rest of the guys.
Once again, man. Who's
I'm
guarding
actually
Embiid?
I'm actually going to Warriors here.
Who's guarding Embiid? No. Who's guarding Embiid? Answer the
Don't
question.
matter.
It don't matter.
Don't matter. I think
Why?
the Warriors can outscore them, and I feel like low-key they were one of the top teams in defense efficiency, and I feel like they would run and beat off the court because everybody's in their prime. Yeah, I trust Draymond to at least contain Embiid.
Barbecue chicken. I do think that would be tougher because I feel like that Warriors team was just like unfair. Like having KD with Steph and Clay in their prime alone was crazy.
Yeah,
Like they didn't need him. If we being honest, they didn't need him. But I do feel like Philly. I feel like Joel Embiid probably would be the difference if he could stay on the court. To your point, because them boys was shooting a lot of threes. They was getting up and down. Is 42-year-old Bron? I mean, 42-year-old Bron is probably guarding who? Draymond chilling
he'll probably be on Iggy.
or Iggy. After that, okay, who's guarding KD? Jalen Brown.
Christmas.
That's probably your best option.
Christmas.
And yeah, I mean, he could make it tough, but like KD just too tall.
Yeah, and I feel like they would. In my mind, you have to neutralize Embiid. I think Draymond can do that, and I feel like with their style of play, you're expending so much energy on defense that it's going to hurt your offensive production. And I think that's where they really can, expose Philadelphia. And then high key in that early prime era, I forgot if Sean Livingston was on that team, but like the Leandro Barbosas, the Andre Iguodala, that bench, I feel like could keep them in the games. And I just trust that version of Curry and KD, and even Game 6 Clay. There's just no hole in terms of like defensive coverage on that team that you can make.
That's real. That's real. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it.
All right, the last one. This is we were talking about offline, but the Brooklyn Nets, the 2021 Brooklyn Nets with KD, James Harden, and Kyrie. Even though they underperform, if everybody's in their prime, how does that team compare?
You would think they would beat Philly, but like based off what we know and what we saw, I mean, like outside of those three though, who else did they have? What did the rest of that roster look like? Like outside of those three? Like I'm legit blanking on who else they had on those teams, on those Nets.
I know Karis LeVert was probably traded for. Wasn't Blake Griffin on that roster? Or am I tripping?
Was he?
Yeah. Oh no, it was. Yeah, Blake Griffin was on that roster. You had LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, Karis LeVert. Yeah, and like I remember, yeah. The dude Mike James, he kind of was going crazy before he went to Australia. Spencer Dinwiddie, Nick Claxton, Tyler Cook, Chris Chiozza, and Bruce Brown. That's kind of when Bruce Brown started to take off.
Yeah, let me get Philly.
And old DeAndre Jordan.
Once again, Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
They have nobody for him.
I didn't know they. I forgot Jared Allen was still on that roster.
He's not moving the needle.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna go with the Sixers with this one, just because I just don't trust Harden with anything in meaningful basketball. I feel like even with the Bucks series, like literally KD, I think had 50 that game. Like everything fell on KD. I feel like there would be some neutralization with Tyrese Maxey and Kyrie, but like you said, I think the other guys, like I trust Bron to expose whoever is guarding him on this roster, because I'm sure KD wouldn't be on him the whole game, but if you put that version of Blake Griffin on him, good night. Good night. and then you got BJ Edgecombe and be if he
Like
sees
that's a lot of scoring, but like Kyrie got to defend, James Harden got to defend. That's
yeah,
gonna be tough.
Jeff Green, LaMarcus Aldridge, who at that point was kind of on the washed end.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess like in terms of the outlook for this next season, does this team make it out the East?
I think they'll be in the mix. I'm not gonna say that they will right now.
Give me your top three.
My top three coming out the East:
Yeah,
Knicks, Philly. You can throw anybody in there, really.
Celtics.
I'll go Cavaliers right now. I'll go Cavs. Uh, is James Harden on the team?
I think they would have to because I think he had a player option, but I think you have to bring it back.
Okay, I'll say Cavs or Raptors. One of those two.
Barring the the Kawhi trade.
Yeah, barring if Kawhi is on the team, yeah.
I'll go Knicks. Um, I gotta wait and see what Miami does with the rest of their roster. Because I was gonna go Miami, Philly, and the Knicks. But high key, I gotta throw us in there as honorable mention. I think we can make it out the East. Mm, I think Atlanta took a step back. Yeah, I'm gonna go Miami, Philly, and the Knicks. All right, so we talked about the East, but let's go over to the West and show the West some love. So we talked about KD before, so let's start there. Let's start with Houston. Obviously, Houston had a very disappointing year, losing to the Lakers, and KD has been rumored in trades to want to play with Cade, maybe to Detroit, but I think that he's probably going to run it back with Houston next year. My thoughts is A-Man has to take a step up in terms of giving production offensively. You get Van Fleet back, and even though I forgot the guy's name, he just signed for that crazy deal, the 4-year 82. Tari
Sorry,
Eason. Yeah, Tari Eason. They got him locked up for the future. You got to bring back Jabari Parker. I feel like the point guard was what they were missing, but I still think that there are significant holes on that team. And some of that came with the whole burner account with KD, but I don't feel like this is a good team that's going to be able to contend in the West. Question is really going to fall on, some of these other guys like your Reed Shepherds, your Jabari Smiths. Can they take a step up in terms of their production? And obviously, a lot of it's going to fall on Amen in terms of not just being still a quality defender, but can we trust you on the court to provide offensively? What say you about the Houston Rockets this year?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, in the East, like the Rockets was one of those teams that I thought could possibly, make it out the Western Conference, and they kind of like just coasted pretty much throughout the season. They didn't really have much flow offensively. It was really just throw KD the ball, make something happen, give it to Sengun, make something happen, and they didn't really, have anybody else really step up for real. That was consistent in scoring. I think getting Van Fleet back will help, specifically at the point guard position because they were terrible at the point guard position last year. You clearly saw how important he was to that roster, to that team. Um, but like you said, somebody's gonna have to step up, or like we mentioned before, yo, peace. Start moving some of these young dudes, bro. Go get somebody. Like, shoot, if it was like we talked about, bro, package some of these young guys up. They could have been. They could have had Giannis potentially if you package up the right pieces. They could have went to go get Giannis. Now you talking about possibly trading KD, and it's just like, So we gonna see. I think they'll be in the mix in the Western Conference, depending on how Van Fleet looks when he comes back from that injury. I still think that they could be a dangerous team, but they got to figure out some type of flow offensively. It can't just be KD and Sengun going back and forth trying to beat other teams. Somebody has to step up consistently, and be a threat. Whether that's Jabari, whether that's Eason, whether that's Reed Shepard, Amin shooting the ball, because we know he can get downhill. We know he can get to the hole, get to the mid range. But you got to be a threat from the outside too.
Yeah, I think I didn't talk about him before, but like even Sengun defensively was kind of just abysmal. I think that's where you were kind of missing before. You had like a Clint Capella, you had Steven Adams. Oh no, is like Adams back on that Houston team? I think he is, but I feel like in terms of being a defensive anchor, that's what they need in order to accompany Sangoon's lack of defensive ability. And I feel like if you're gonna lack defensively, you have to be dominant offensively. And there were comparisons to Jokic, but I feel like that's not even a comparison any longer. I feel like he has to really earn that. And I think just trying to understand Ime from Boston, it was very much everybody needs to play defense. But I feel like looking at this team this past year, it was like, hey, amen, save us. And I don't think that's necessarily going to fly. So that's why I brought up Tyreek Eason, because like you need those guys who are just going to come in and just be like your Alex Caruso's, Lou Dort's. I know they're not on the same level defensively, but those are the kind of guys you need in order to stop, some of these guys in the West, because you can't ask KD to be that for 82 games at this stage in his career. And I feel like you lack that with a Fred Van Fleet. Fred can guard, but he's not going to be a defensive stalwart. And you don't have that with Reed Shepard or whatnot. And I feel like Ime's identity is always defense, but you're asking him to change his identity, and I don't think Ime's changing that. And I feel like that has to placate some of this offensive inefficiencies.
And I will say they did add Marcus Smart, so hopefully he can help and give them something. I know he played big in the postseason for the Lakers, against them, but if he can still give them something at his older age, specifically on the defensive end, we know what kind of guy he is. He's gritty. He's going to defend. He's going to play hard. Um, and like you said, you need those type of guys in the locker room, on the court. And if he can set the tone defensively alongside a men, it could change things. It could
Yeah.
change things. So we'll see.
Yeah, so let's talk about the other team in Texas. The Mavs went and got the 2024 number one pick, Ricochet, but you still have the the number one pick from 2 years ago, last year, Cooper Flag, who had a big year, more so later on in the season. But it seems like Dusty May is going to center everything around Cooper. But you bring in a Morris Johnson Jr., you have Kyrie still, and you have a plethora of different bigs. You got Lively, you got Gafford, even like you got a Najee Marshall. And I think in terms of the stock up and stock down, I think it's just I'm a big believer in Dustin May, even when he was at FAU. But I'm just curious to know how his style translates to the NBA. And you got a guy at GM now who is willing to take big moves. I mean, he traded for Kawhi, not knowing if Kawhi is going to sign long term. And I feel like even his move might not have been as risky getting Ricochet, but I think that he believes that Dusty May can really change the trajectory of his career. And so I'm banking on it. So I got the stock up for the Mavs. I feel like the biggest thing is kind of solidifying different roles and clearing up some of the log jams in the forward and center position is where they need to kind of focus on moving forward. And I guess that means Cooper is going to be playing at the three a lot more.
Yeah. A lot of length, a lot of athleticism on this team. Like you said, a lot of size. Um, my biggest question is going to be from the guard position. Like I know Kyrie is there, and I assume he's going to be there throughout the season. But outside of that, like what are you getting from your guards? I know that Cooper can handle the ball a little bit, but like, are you just going to play a big lineup? Like how is that going to look offensively? And then I feel like defensively they'll be able to switch a lot of things. Like I said, a lot of length, a lot of athleticism. Ricochet, PJ Washington, Cooper Flag, Gafford, Lively, all those guys. Like that's a lot of size. So we gonna see. Like I said, I think that they still got some moves to make. Specifically with the guard position, got to figure out what's gonna happen there. Kyrie's getting up there in age too. But I I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna wait and
Yeah.
see. I'm not gonna say it's up or down. I think they got a lot of potential, but I got to see what they do at the guard position. But
Yeah. And like I
go
was looking at their roster, they don't have a lot of young guards. Like, I mean, you
ahead.
still got Clay on the roster, you got Kyrie. Still waiting to see a big jump from Jet Howard from Michigan. But other than that, I mean, some of the guys they got, like, I guess we're kind of played out with the whole Max Christie experiment, but I don't see a lot of like future talent to go along Cooper.
Mhm.
So I agree with you on that. I feel like there definitely going to be some trades coming because I'm just looking at their centers. Like you got four quality centers that I think you could trade. So I feel like some contender might dip towards the trade deadline on that.
Yeah, and that's not a bad position to be in if you're the Mavericks, right?
Yeah.
Like you got two young guys on the wing. Ricochet, you gotta hope that he takes a step and can give you something playing alongside Cooper. As we talked about last week, like he hasn't lived up to the number one pick expectations, but if he can give them something, that's that's good enough, you know. I mean, we're not asking him to go out there and get 30 a night, but he can give us, 15 to 18 a game alongside Cooper. I feel like that's a steal for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Do you think that this team can make the playoffs this year?
No,
This is
no, I don't think so.
um I think they can do the play in. I don't know if they'd be a for sure play off team in this scenario, but obviously some of this depends on how they look going into the trade deadline. Because I could definitely see this team selling, right, and say, hey, we're going to build around Cooper if they're not good early in the season. I think Kyrie comes back healthy, and I feel like Dusty May is not coming to lose. But a
Yeah,
lot of coaches have tried to say, hey, I'm going to still be a winner. Billy Donovan, and it's a
yeah.
different league.
Especially being out west, that's gonna be tough night in and night out. Like it's no cupcakes over there. It might be a couple, but it
The
ain't that
Kings.
many out there. Yeah, the Kings, maybe the Jazz, but I feel like the Jazz probably gonna be playing hard
Yeah.
still. Like I don't think it's gonna be a cakewalk or nothing, but yeah, it's gonna be tough, especially if Kyrie can't stay 100%, and if you're still like I said, they got to figure out the guard situation. So it's tough guards everywhere.
Facts. That's going to force you to guard defensively. So, all right, let's stay in Texas. One more team. The second place team this year, the San Antonio Spurs. Their biggest offseason addition was Tobias Harris from Detroit, which was a mistake for Detroit in my opinion because I think he is still a quality vet. But you're kind of looking for Wemby to take that step up. I feel like a lot of the issues that the Spurs had was the non-Wemby minutes, but also when Wemby was on the court, his proclivity to shoot the three, right? And I think some of that came with fatigue. I think some of that came with a lack of muscle. And I've seen a couple of tweets where people are talking about him gaining muscle this year to kind of combat that. But I feel like in terms of him, obviously you hope all of these players stay healthy, but you're looking for Dylan Harper to take a step up. You're obviously looking for Castle to take a step up, and for De'Aaron Fox looking for a chance to redeem yourself. It was a terrible postseason performance, but I do believe some of that came from injury. But we got to go back to Sac Fox. Like we have to go to Sacramento version of De'Aaron Fox, and I think he can still be that. But I feel like his athleticism will open a lot more for not only a Wemby, but I think they brought back a Champagny who was lights out from three. Only problem with him is he needs to guard, and you still got to Harrison Barnes. I assume that this is not necessarily just a step up for this roster, but it needs to be a step up for Mitch Johnson as well, because I think he got out coached by Mike Brown, and I think there was a lot of learning opportunities. But utilize your bench. I feel like that's the biggest thing, and they're addressing it. But I think that as they continue to progress, I'm interested to see Jaden Quintance from Arizona State and Kentucky. The biggest thing is going to be on that right leg. Is he healthy and is he going to sit out? But with that, you got a safety valve with Terrace Reed Jr. from UConn, who I like coming out of UConn, but I think that he's going to be a decent big to help solve a lot of the issues that they were having at their five position because they were looking to do that with Kelly Olynyk and Luke Cornett. And I just feel like Luke Cornett is more so a three instead of a two. And I think Tyrus Reed can come in if he develops, can come and be that offensive weapon that they can use to kind of take some of the attention off of Wemby.
Yeah, I think that was really probably the biggest thing that they did this offseason was address the backup center position. We saw, like you said, when Wemby was off the court, like Luke Cornett was not holding it down how, how they needed him to. And they went out and drafted three centers. They went out and drafted three centers. So if one of them can't be the answer, good luck.
Yeah.
But I think they're in a good spot. I think definitely, like you said, Mitch Johnson has some learning to do. Some of the other players had some learning to do, but I think last year was a good experience for them. Um, like you said, Harper's going to take a step up. I don't even know if they need De'Aaron Fox to be better in a sense. Like if Harper steps up, he takes over that starting point guard role. If De'Aaron Fox can give them something off the bench, that's good. I feel like they could be one of the deepest teams in the NBA. Like you still got Carter Bryant, you still got Vassell, you still got Keldon Johnson. You got a lot of young guys that you can throw out there. So I feel like they're in a great spot. Like you said, Wemby was settling for a lot of jumpers. And I think that if he can find a go-to move down low, or even just get into the free throw line a little bit more, like that'll change a lot of things for them. It opens up the shooting for Champagny, for Fox, for Castle. Like they got a lot of good pieces over there, and I feel like they're in a good spot right now. I think they'll be good.
Yeah, I think two things. So I was saying the De'Aaron Fox thing more so for his personal career because I feel like he has to kind of give some semblance of the Sacramento Fox because after this year you're presuming he's gone, right? Because I think Harper would take that step into the starting role, and with that performance he had last year, he can easily become a journeyman. Where it's just like that contract, I don't think people want that, and I feel like it's an embarrassment of riches, but we're hoping that Dylan Harper takes a step up. I feel like Dylan Harper can definitely give a boost to that team, but I feel like De'Aaron Fox is the one that can facilitate and kind of be the point guard presence. Hopefully, he can develop into that, and I think he has to step up from that end for them to win the championship. I think regardless of their talent, they're going to make the playoffs. But I think in terms of the West and what you're seeing out East, you're going to need more savvy vets to kind of get you over the hump. And I feel like that's what they were missing this year. And I feel like that falls on Fox, especially for what he's getting paid. Second thing is, I think that for Mitch Johnson, if I'm coaching this team, I know that Wemby can shoot the three, but I don't think he's a great 3-point shooter. And I think a lot of his actions need to be going towards the rim. I would attack the rim every time. And I feel like because of his height, it probably is harder to do that off the dribble because a good defender will rip you every time. But I feel like you can set screens, even like in the sort of flex style offense where you can get mismatches on the back end to make the defense think essentially. And I feel like at Wemby's height, the pick and roll is still there, but I feel like you can do more movement offensively to get him into the places that he's comfortable with. And I feel like that's really the next step for Mitch because, it seemed like a lot of one-on-one ball where, and I'm talking specifically in the playoffs, there was a lot of one-on-one ball where you just wanted Wemby to get to the spot. And I just feel like because he's physically unable to, he just couldn't. Like I know he could probably hit the mid range, but Cat, they even had some sets with OG on him. Like he just physically wasn't able to just get by them. And I feel like you can do that as a coach through your play calling more so than just off the dribble.
Yeah, and piggybacking off that point, it's like one thing that we've seen throughout the years with somebody like a Kevin Durant, they found a way to get him the ball in the post,
Yep.
short corner, at the elbow, get him the ball, get him some touches closer to the rim,
Yeah.
set some back screens. get some switches, like you said, get some mismatches, and find a way to get him the ball closer to the rim. I think that'll be a good start instead of necessarily, either having him bring the ball up the court or passing him the ball on the perimeter. Like, yo, just come set a screen for me. Let me go around it. Nobody can jump with the man. Just throw it
Right.
up.
Just throw it up. Yeah.
Just throw it up. You don't even got to throw it towards the rim. Just throw it up so I get it. And once I get it, I can make a decision on what to do with it.
Yeah. But I
It's
feel
not that hard.
and I feel like doing that, even in New York standpoint, y'all were suffering early on in the series because with them attacking the rim, it put y'all in foul trouble because we know with Cat. But even Mitchell Robinson was getting a lot of fouls, and I feel like use that as an advantage. You got a 7'4" guy who can shoot the ball, and I think if you're crafty with it, you can always have the defense the opposing defense at a disadvantage because you're going to have to tap into their second or third string center where Wemby can really dominate. Those are the kind of like tactics I feel like Mitch Johnson needs to take the step up with.
And then also with like getting them the ball inside, like we know that the defense eyes is going to be on him. Mm-hmm. So if you decide to help off, you got shooters to pass it to. So I think that'll be another good advantage to trying to get him the ball closer to the rim is that it can open up opportunities for other people if the defense tries to collapse. So
yeah,
you just got to try to get him the ball, like I said, the elbow, on the block, mid range, and just force the defense to react and respond to what y'all are doing. Don't just settle for jump shots or trying to give him the ball on the perimeter because he can do it. Is that the best shot y'all can get though?
Right. And kind of like we were talking with last episode with AJ the Bouncer, like just because you can do it doesn't mean you have to do it. Like I think if Wemby just simplifies his game, he could be a lot more dominant than like the oohs and the ahs with him hitting step back threes. Good, keep that in your bag. But really,
bro, you could be averaging 15 free throws a game if you wanted to.
If you wanted to, bro, put pressure on the defense.
Literally, like nobody can block your shot, bro. Have we seen anybody block his shot for real?
No.
It's either gonna be a foul or you gonna miss.
Yeah.
Put pressure on the rim. Simple. And like you said, when teams have to go to their third big or fourth big, and they got to get out there, whatever their game plan is that they want to do, it's over.
Yeah.
You simplify the game.
And another piece is the conditioning too, because if we're gonna compare you to the GOATs, are we talking about 2017 Bron? If we're gonna compare you to the creme de la creme, Bron can't step off the court in the playoffs.
Get in shape.
And there was just no excuse because that's what comes with being the top player. And I feel like now that he's gotten paid, now you're starting to enter into those face of league conversations. And what the fatigue factor was not an excuse because I feel like now if I had to put like a 2017 Bron on this past team that played against the Knicks, soon as the Knicks started coming back, Bron would have put himself back in. And I feel like that's the kind of mentality Wemby has to have in terms of conditioning and just in terms of that dog where a 29-point lead can't be blown.
And not just putting yourself back in the game, but getting back in the game and like doing something and dominating and making sure your team don't lose the lead.
Right.
Because that's unacceptable, bro. How they lost them games and against the Knicks.
Yeah.
Them boys probably couldn't sleep at night. I know I wouldn't have been able to. Bro. After OG tipped that junk in, boy, I would have been sick.
Bro, and the thing is, he was talking to Mitch the whole time, talking about he's in his head. Like, it should have been a 50-point lead. To be real. Like, and that should just fall on Wemby. And I think you can't hide any longer because you are considered the face of the league right now. You're on the cover. I'm sure Adam Silver wants to pass the torch to him now. I just don't think we can excuse him any longer. And I know, and the thing is, bro, I know we talked about it on the pod, and like it sounds good to say, oh, Wemby's gonna have the next 10 years in terms of his career to get championships and stuff, but it's not that easy. Bro, we've seen like a lot of teams have to disband because of the second apron. Like, I'm sure they're gonna be in contention every year, but if you don't start winning the next couple of years, man, it can get dark where I feel like you can always be right there, Karl Malone, John Stockton, and it's just you never win one. I do think he'll win at some point in his career, but I think we're trying to anoint him into a place that we don't understand the feats that he has to get there. And I would just be weary on the idea that he's going to win the next 10 championships because we've seen other teams come in and beat them, namely the Knicks.
Hey man, I just want to go back to the point that y'all boys were saying during the finals. This could be the start of the dynasty.
It could. It could.
Now we questioning, will he ever get one?
Bro, that's a very real comparison, bro. Because like I think the last dynasty with the Spurs and this is not the same league. It was much easier to form super teams, and you had Pop, who was one of the top coaches in the league, and it was a different game. Now, like, prayerfully he stays healthy for the rest of his career. But we've seen instances where people were supposed to do a lot more than they actually did. And like even this year, I mean, the West is hard. Then imagine you like get out the West like last year, and then you see Philly on the other side, and it's like those are the kind of things that you got to think about. And for the apron situation, I don't expect Castle and Harper to take pay cuts. They can be like, "Thanks, Wemby. I need mine." And now you got to make some decisions.
But hey, like you said, like Vassell, Keldon Johnson, y'all might be on the short end of the stick, depending on how the Spurs want to move, right? Like if they think that Castle and Harper are the future of the backcourt, and we good without Vassell and Keldon Johnson, trade them.
That's fair.
And also like don't let them boys walk and don't get nothing for them now. Package them boys up, go get somebody, and keep building around this young core that you got.
Yeah.
Don't let them boys walk out that door for nothing, San Antonio.
Yeah, you mentioned them before, but let's go over to Utah. So Utah, they drafted Darren Peterson, and that just adds to an embarrassment of riches. You got Laurie Marketing, you got Jaren Jackson, Keontae George, Ace Bailey, Yusuf Nurkic, I believe, still Bryson Sabal. A lot of young talent, a young core, and we know what Danny Ainge can do. But I guess like from a stock up, stock down perspective, how do you feel about Utah headed into this next season?
I don't think they'll be in the play-in, but like I like the pieces that they have. I
Yeah.
think that moving forward, like you said, like they have a lot of young pieces that can get buckets, that can guard multiple positions, a lot of length, a lot of athleticism. It's going to be interesting to see. We talked about timelines before, but like Laurie is approaching 30, Jaren is 26, and then you got these younger guys, 19, 20, 21 years old. How is that going to how are those two ages and age gaps going to mesh on the court, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't think that Utah is going to be in a position to win right now, but if they're out there competing and out there winning games, maybe the timeline looks a little bit different for them. So we'll see. I just feel like we just got to wait and see, because like a lot of those pieces, I mean, we've been talking about Laurie Marketing in trades the past 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So it's like,
exactly what I'm about to
are
say.
y'all really going to move him, or do y'all plan on keeping him? What does that look like? Because a Laurie Marketing package to the right team could get you some either good draft capital or some solid role players.
Yeah, my thing on this is like we know what Ainge did at Boston. What is Ainge waiting on? Like, I think he's hoarding a lot of good pieces to make a big move. I just don't know what that big move is. And I think for the future, I think it's going to be centered around Darren Peterson. We saw the contract disputes they had with Keontae George this offseason, and I feel like Keontae George is going to be in a package, more so the future of the Utah Jazz. And with Ace Bailey, I feel like Ace Bailey had a nice rookie season, but I feel like the noise is going to be around Darren Peterson. And when you have, I think they could win now if they had, another piece to go alongside Darren and Jaren Jackson. Win now in terms of making like a play-in type thing, not a championship. But also too, you got to fill the void with Walker Kessler. Like, hopefully Filipowski from Duke can kind of step in and be that center for them. But I mean, we know what Laurie can do, but I think once again, is Ainge just trying to show him off to trade him, or are they trying to actually build? Because if that's the case, do you build around Darren or do you build around Marketing, who is perceivably the best player on the team, right?
Yeah, I think they're gonna move on from Marketing. At this point, I mean, you got like you said, you got two top 5 draft picks the past 2 years. You got to see what they can do together, right?
Yeah.
You got Ace, you got Darren. Let's see what they can do. Run it back. Let them run the show. The Jaren Jackson move just didn't make sense to me. Like, I mean, you get him, but it's like I said, like what's the timeline? And then also like for the Jazz, like what's the timeline? You talked about Ainge, but like how soon do you want to truly start competing in the Western Conference? Is it next year? Is it the year after that? And like you said, like if there is a big move up his sleeve, who wants to come to Utah? If we being honest,
Well, so that's what I was thinking. Like, if they don't win next year, could you just shrug your shoulders and say, "We'll bring you back, Donovan," and you just give some of the young pieces to Cleveland, and I think you just kind of rock out with that Western Conference Finals. I think they won a Western Conference. We got to the Western Conference Finals, but like Donovan and those young pieces with Darren. Because honestly,
you think they want to pay all that money?
I think they want a star. I think they're willing to do that. Danny Ainge wants a star. He wants to
I
build
would,
a big three.
I would take my chances with Darren Peterson and Ace potentially becoming a star before I go make a trade for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, or that caliber player. I just think that the only reason the trade makes sense for Jaren Jackson is to move him later on. So I'm just like I'm seeing a lot of pieces that will be decent pieces for contenders. So what
Yeah,
are they waiting for? That's that.
yeah.
I'm trying to think about the stars on the horizon.
Because I
And
mean, probably like best at that point, you just taking the best offer. But
yeah,
like
exactly.
at right now, you probably not getting nothing crazy for them because teams aren't playing for one. And I think once teams see what they have and what they need, if I can go add a Jaren Jackson before the deadline to put my team over the hump, I'm gonna give you whatever you need
Exactly.
to go get him. So I guess we just gotta wait and see, man. I guess we gotta wait
Franz.
and see.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like
You said Franz.
I'm trying to think of stars who might be on the move. Like I,
If I'm Utah, if anything, I'm not looking to go get nobody. If y'all want to come get Laurie, if y'all want to come get, Jackson Hayes, Nurkic, any of these guys that can potentially help you, Keontae George, our phone is open.
mhm.
I would continue to stack assets and hope that somebody pops.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in a position right now to be trying to go get a star.
Yeah, I just don't think that Danny Ainge, the way that he's built other teams, I don't think he's waiting a decade. I feel like he really wants to win now.
But I don't think that's Utah. I don't think
For
that's
sure.
Utah.
I
Like,
agree. But he took the job for a reason. So I'm thinking that it has to be something more to the story. And honestly,
collecting a check.
a bigger bag. I feel like if Detroit is smart, they need to get on the phone and go get Laurie. Either Laurie or Jaren. I would like Laurie more because I think Laurie can create a little bit more offensively.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, what are you giving up though? Like, if I'm Utah, I don't want nobody on Detroit. Like, unless y'all are giving me Asar Thompson, and I know
No,
you're not giving me Cade. who, who am I taking for Laurie or Jared Jackson off that team?
Picks, Dennis Jenkins, Ron Holland, have at it.
We good at the guard position.
Well, you already gave up Stu. Um, you're not giving up Duran.
Next team.
Would you do Duran?
You think they would trade?
Like a sign and trade?
I mean, I get it because he's not happy there. But if I'm Utah, it's like, how is that moving the needle?
Gives you a big to replace Kessler.
Okay, but like that's not like Jalen Duren is not guaranteeing me 40 wins. Like I don't think that helps them in the Western Conference.
He's not, but okay. Hypothetically speaking, you trade straight up like maybe a pick or two from Detroit, Duran for Kessler. You pay Duran and have him long term. You still have a bunch of pieces to go and get somebody. Like, and by that time, hopefully Darren has popped. I think Ace Bailey will probably be on the move. Could hypothetically speaking, could Darren Peterson, who's developed into a star, Jalen Duren and KD get to the playoffs?
When?
Next year. No, I'm saying like not this year, but the next year.
Maybe play in. Maybe. The Western Conference is tough, bro.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna ask you, like, do you think the Jazz could win a championship in the next like 5-10 years?
No. But I mean, I don't imagine Danny Ainge is thinking like they can't. So you missed out on AJ.
What's the goal?
Relevance.
Relevance?
Yeah.
That's the goal of Utah is to be relevant.
Yeah.
We're gonna sell these tickets with Ace Bailey and Darren Peterson. Pull up. That's the excitement y'all got.
It's the same thing as the Celtics, bro. I mean, before KG and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen became one, we were fighting for relevance.
Hey, brother, y'all are a historic franchise that is used to winning. Right or wrong?
Yeah, for sure.
Why
does he take the job? I just don't get it.
Are the Jazz in that same tier of relevance as far as championships as y'all?
No.
All right.
You know who else is not in the same class as us?
Who?
The Los Angeles Lakers. All right, so the Lakers, they traded for Walker Kessler from Utah, and that pairs him with Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic. One more, I think I'm missing one more person, but the new look Lakers, they have new ownership, same coach, but they have a new roster. How do you feel about JJ Redick and the Lakers going into this next season, brother?
Good luck. Barring health, if everybody's healthy, I think they can make the playoffs still. But after that, it's like, do I think they can win a championship and make it out the West? I don't know. I do like the addition of Quentin Grimes. They added Jaden Hardy as well, guard. So they Colin Sexton.
Yep.
So I mean, I like some of the pieces that they have. I don't think it's enough though. Like when we're talking about like Denver or like OKC or San Antonio, I don't think they're in that tier of like Western Conference teams. But we'll see. I think they still have some more building to do around Luka. as far as like players and like playing style that fit best with Luca. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with Walker Kessler. Hopefully he can
Yeah,
stay healthy.
I think we've on year what 7, 6 with this experiment with who fits Luca. We tried Kristaps Porzingis, tried Jalen Brunson. I feel like the closest match was with Kyrie. I think some of that is just because Kyrie is Kyrie, but I feel like this could be a good fit with him and Austin Reeves. Like not having to worry about Braun. This is their team. But the thing is like I'm still kind of hesitant because how does Walker Kessler look with this offense? And is he still dealing with anything with that shoulder injury? Because he was out the entire last season because of the shoulder injury. And I wonder if it was more so because of the injury or is because Utah was just trying to stash him away to say, hey, don't get on the court and injured anymore so that we can trade you for a high value. I think some of the role players that you mentioned like are nice pieces. I like Quentin Grimes on this team. But Colin Sexton, I'm like, yeah, it's a nice piece. I don't think it's taking them over the hump. And I feel like they need to solidify their depth in terms of the bench, especially at the center position. I would make a call if Dallas wants to expend any of those bigs, trying to see if I can get one of those guys. Either,
I think Dallas gonna make another trade with them.
I mean, it's basketball. I don't think that people are just going to shun them out. Like if you present the right trade, only thing is I don't know what like if Gafford's on the block, I feel like there are 20 more other teams that can give you a better offer than what the Lakers can give because you don't want to gut your roster and you're not giving up. I mean, Laravia and Bronny and Connect, I'm good, but they need a guy like that in order to solidify the bench. But
They got Kayvon Looney, man. He can rebound and defend still. They added the boy Sandro too. He can shoot it, stretch the floor a little bit. Like I said, man, I don't see them making it out the West. And I definitely think they're gonna struggle a little bit without Brian. Um, I feel like that leadership is very important. Where's the leadership coming from this roster?
okay, I'm sorry, I had to take a moment of silence when you said Kavon. Um, yeah, I agree. The thing is, defensively, this team is going to be garbage. Um,
Shootout.
and I just don't know the direction. Like obviously you're building around Luca, but you got your most of your cap spaces in your backcourt. And with Walker Kessler, you paid him to be a dominant type of all-star level big, which I think he's capable of, but that's a big risk. And if those three don't hit, now you got them under contract. And I don't know how easy it's going to be to move on from Reeves or Walker Kessler to go get somebody that Luca may want. Um, Obviously, you're the Lakers, so you have a history of making big moves. But at some point, you got to look at Dallas.
I feel like they would be able to move off of Reeves. Would
So
they?
where with that
Would
contract?
somebody will take Reeves, bro? Somebody will definitely take Reeves.
Uh,
I mean, he doesn't really have any weaknesses to his game, bro. Somebody will pay him.
you think Reeves is better than Jalen Brown?
Jalen Brown? No.
Yeah. Yeah, and then with that contract, I think his value is going to lose.
How much is he getting paid? He's not getting paid that much, is he?
He just got a contract, a big contract.
Right. It ain't Jalen Brown money. Can't be.
No, it's not. It's not 70. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Austin Reeves' contract is
He's not getting over 200 million, is he?
It's 45 a year, or 4 years, 180.
Yeah, that's a movable contract.
Mm.
He not getting 250 or 300 or nothing like that. He ain't getting a less star money.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Let's look at some number twos across the league now.
All right, weird.
Franz, you taking Franz or you taking AR?
France.
AR. I assume you're taking Jamal Murray over AR, right?
Or are we talking about just primes? Because like now Jamal's kind of on the back end.
So you would take AR over Jamal.
Yeah, right now, yeah. Like if I'm looking to build my team moving forward, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see who else. I'm taking. I'm not even gonna say Cat because I'm sure you're taking Cat over AR, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll take OG over AR.
Would you?
Yeah, in a heartbeat. If they called New York today, James Baldwin's hanging up the phone. He gives you more defensively, and I think he kind of matches. He's not going to give you 30 like AR, but I feel like he can at least give you something.
What
He's the
about J Dub?
offensive. Hmm?
J Dub or Chet?
J Dub, yes. Chet is a conversation. I think Chet's still a decent player, but I think if it depending on the makeup of my team, I think I would pick AR.
AR or Sengun?
AR.
AR or Dorn?
AR.
Okay. I just feel like that's a movable contract, bro. I don't think that number is too high to where teams are gonna be like, I don't know about that one.
That's fair. I guess what I'm saying is, so obviously Lakers, you're in this celebrity business. I feel like the hidden thing is probably Jokic in 27 if he chooses to become a free agent. But let's say the Luca and AR experiment doesn't work this year. Luca's getting another year older. He still hasn't won. Like, do you just ride it out? Because I'm saying, in order to make a trade for a star, I just don't know if AR is going to be the missing piece that people want in order to solidify the roster.
But as we've seen though, like we just saw with Giannis,
Okay,
they gave up Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez.
Jacoris.
You can package AR to go get a star if you need to. You just got to add a little bit more.
I just don't.
If Tyler Hero could get moved for Giannis, I could move AR and somebody else on that roster to go get a star caliber player that can play alongside Luka.
I got to look at their pick situation. I know they traded a lot. They had, accommodate Brian.
Would you trade both of them? Would you trade Walker and AR to go get a star?
Depends on who the star is. Like, you're asking for both of those players, it has to be prime, prime superstar. Trying to think who that would go for.
That could play alongside Luka.
Right. I would like. Do you get into presumably the AE business? Like,
what do you think it would take to get Anthony Edwards in that situation if you're the Lakers?
Contractually, I don't know if you can do AR and Walker. It'll probably AR, gut your entire roster, and pick swaps for the next 3 or 4 years. And that's just getting into the conversation, because obviously with this new lottery system, I'm sure there are going to be other teams with more premium picks and I think better rosters in order to Utah. Like, not saying that AR or AAE wants to go to Utah, but I'm saying they have way more pieces and picks that they can make the trade.
He's not going for that.
For sure. But I was just saying in terms of teams with better packages.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah. We'll see. I think they can. I think the Lakers could be, like I said, like 6, 7, 8 seed in the West. I don't see them being top four, top five team in the West, but we'll see. And they got to be healthy. That's gonna be the biggest thing. Because if
Yes.
Luca or AR goes down, like you said, whoever has to step up, if one of them goes down, it's barbecue chicken. They about to be sorry. They might as well tank.
Yeah, and that's the other problem. Is like I, I just don't trust they have to be healthy. And I just don't trust that being a winning formula. All right, you talked about AD, I mean AE. Let's go to Minnesota. So Minnesota, what I would say we had a disappointing season last season. Um, I feel like, you know, they had the second biggest, well, probably third biggest move in the all season, going and get LaMelo Ball, pair him with Jaden McDaniels. You got rid of Julius Randle and Nas Reed now. So it's going to be on LaMelo and Rudy, right? And you got Jaden Clark, you got, I forgot his name, but Illinois, Terrence Shannon. And in terms of drafting, they got your boy from Minnesota, I mean, from Duke, Slim, or Isaiah Evans.
Slim, you said it right. Slim, you said it right.
But I guess like where are we in terms of the Minnesota business, and what do you see for them in this next season?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was a surprise to many or what it was, but like I think moving on from Julius Randle kind of like just like started their off season moves. Um because that trade was pretty trash. Like they didn't really get much for Julius Randle in that trade. I think they got a draft pick, maybe
Yeah,
a draft pick and something like
it was more
it
so
got,
to offload that contract.
yeah. So like, and then you move on from Nas Reed. We talked about Nas a good bit last week, but they lose depth down low. So it's falls on Rudy Gobert, who they traded for years ago. We're gonna see what he can do. You gotta hope that Dante DiVincenzo comes back healthy off of his injury. Hopefully, he can give them something in the backcourt. You re-sign Io to that contract that he got. It's gonna look a little bit different this year for Minnesota. You gotta hope that LaMelo and AE can play alongside one another. Um, so I feel like that's gonna be the big draw for Minnesota this year is just being able to watch those two put on a show night in and night out. I definitely think they took a step back as far as like Western Conference teams and trying to come out the West. But like we said before, it felt like they had to do something because AE time is ticking in Minnesota. Like at any given point, like if this doesn't work with LaMelo, AE is gone.
It's gone, bro.
He's
It's
putting in
gone.
that trade request, and they're going to grant it. So we gonna see. Hopefully, it works out for them. But I don't see them being a top tier contending Western Conference team. I know Jaden McDaniels had a good postseason run, scoring the ball, showing what he could do offensively. Will he be able to sustain that though
Yeah.
for 82 games and still be able to defend team's best players?
So I guess I don't know the exact number that AL got paid, but like I feel like it was a bad contract regardless. I think he was more so trending towards journeyman, and his playoff performance without Dante DiVincenzo got him that contract. Um,
5 years, 112 million. That's
yeah,
close. That's close to AR numbers
that's what I was about to say. Like, I think AR clears AO. like, I don't
easily.
think it's close. So I feel like that's a terrible contract, and then you got him locked in for the 5 years, and like I just don't see this roster winning. Like it'll be fun, it'll be exciting, but in terms of actual playoff performance, which bro, 2 years ago we were talking about AE and them in the Western Conference Finals could potentially go to the finals. Like, and it's just a tragic fall off. And I don't, like you said, I think AE wants to win, and LaMelo doesn't want to be there. Bro, I really think they're trying to sell us this idea that AE and LaMelo are going to be there, but none of them want to be in Minnesota. I feel like they're getting paid for it, but I just feel like LaMelo wants to move farther and farther west. AE wants to move farther and farther east, and I feel like we're just putting a band-aid on a bigger problem. And I just think that Minnesota, you gave away most of your picks to Charlotte. You gave Nas Reed away, who I think could have been packaged for more picks if you were going to actually, move on from AE. But it's like, this is a dysfunctional organization. And I think people are going to look at it late night with them when they're playing the Spurs or playing OKC, and they're going to trick themselves into believing this is a good roster. It's not, man. And it's time.
And it low key reminds me of like Milwaukee, right? We talked about Giannis getting traded the past, 3-4 years. It seems like they went and tried to get Dame as a band-aid, like you said. Okay, let's see if Dame and Giannis can work. Nope. And we saw what happened. Dame got traded. Giannis potentially eventually gets traded. We about to see the same thing in Minnesota. And it's like, at what point do you give up on Gobert in a sense? Because you gave up a lot for him. You gave up a lot for Gobert. You already traded Cat. You moved on from Randall. you're doing everything. You're trying to make these small changes, and it's not working. Blow it up. Just blow it up.
Yeah, and like you said, like who their front court is terrible outside of Rudy. Like you're expecting what Jaden McDaniels to guard whoever like the four is, and if Rudy gets in foul trouble, who's your backup big?
Yeah.
Luka Garza is he still on the roster? I'm trying to think.
I'm not. Let me look. Yeah, let's see. Let's see who y'all backup big is. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's barbecue chicken.
Who is it?
Roko Zakarski,
Good night.
7'3". Johan Behringer, 19-year-old. Enrique Freeman, 25-year-old.
Yeah.
You got Trey Lyles. Yeah, it's barbecue chicken down there.
Lyles is still
Bro, it's barbecue chicken down there. They're cool. Minnesota will be making some trades during the season. I'm gonna say it right now.
I think this thing could miss the playoffs. Honestly,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
As much as I love AE, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and the overarching thing that nobody's talking about is like this. If it was not for Zion Williamson, we would be talking about LaMelo Ball in terms of availability because he's been just as hurt, and we just expect him to just all of a sudden be like durable. No, I think it's going to be the same stuff.
Like I told you before, bro. He's only played 2 seasons with 70 or more games. This past season, he played 72. His second year, he played 75. Other than that, the man's been hurt. So hopefully he can stay healthy and we can truly see how it looks in the backcourt with AE and LaMelo. But yeah, good luck. I mean, I think both of them will be requesting trades very soon.
Yeah. All right. So another team make a jump is with Ja in Portland. So you have a new coach. Got his name, the coach from Minnesota. And then now you have Denny Avia, Dame, Donovan Cleanigan, Ja, the guy that won a all defensive team. To what's his name again?
Monty.
Yeah, Tamani. Rob Williams, I think, still like
Shaden Sharp.
Shaden Sharp, yes.
Scoop.
Who?
Scoop.
Oh yeah, Scoop Henderson. Okay, so you got some solid pieces, but I guess before we talk about Portland as a team, how do you feel like the move with Ja? How do you think that's going to mesh in terms of this roster?
It's going to be interesting to see who's truly like the point guard. I feel like Dame probably is better suited to play off the ball, um, because Ja just can't shoot as good as Dame. Um, but we'll see. Um, if healthy, once again, if both are healthy, it could be electrifying to see. Because, like you said, like they still got Denny, who's a very good ball handler, likes to have the ball in his hands as well, can score off the wing. Um, but I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing that I'm looking for early on is like who has those point guard duties, whether it's
Mhm.
Dame or whether it's Ja. I think he can help. He can get to the basket, electrifying scorer. But like I said, I gotta see how it look first.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know. I think Ja has the style of play to be off ball. I just don't know if he's just automatically going to do that now, since he's been used to doing that his whole career in Memphis, being on ball. And I think in terms of, I think you go Dame at the one, Denny at the three, Ja at the two, and then bring Scoot off the bench. Um, I just don't know how that's going to look because he steps into like a CJ McCollum type of role. Like, what does that look like in terms of him being a creator? And I feel like the only thing is you have Dame to kind of like offset his lack of 3-point shooting. But I think defensively, this team's gonna have a lot of trouble. And I I guess what they're saying is we can offload some of that offensive pressure on the Klinigan, and hopefully he can like clean up in the post. But one of the issues I think is just like, okay, you got a guy who is trying to resurrect his career in a sense, and you have a first year head coach who has to deal with so many different personalities. And obviously, when Dame was not there, Denny was running the one. And I'm just curious to know, like, I think Denny's game fits more of a Luca style offense, and I just don't know him having to take a kind of back seat in terms of shots. I just don't know how that's going to mesh with the first year head coach. So I could definitely see this being dysfunctional.
Yeah, I think it could be dysfunctional too. But like, I, I get what you're saying from the defensive standpoint, but I feel like they have some guys on this roster that can like go get stops if you need to. Like if it gets bad, like late game situation where they like need to get stops,
Hmm.
these dudes can't be prideful to be like, hey, come sit down. We need to get a couple stops. Like I said, still got Drew. You still got Shaden Sharp. You got Scoot. You got guys that can go out there and defend on the perimeter specifically. Um, and then you got some size down low. You got Klingon. You got Rod Williams down low that can protect the rim. You
Hmm.
got Kamara down there that can protect the rim.
Hmm.
I feel like they'll be fine defensively, but like you said, offensively, like the shot selection, how you gonna get your shots? If you're Denny, even if you're Scoot or Shaden Sharp, um, that's gonna be interesting to see offensively. But we'll see. I think they could possibly be a play-in team if they can figure the offensive side of the ball out. I think they'll be fine defensively.
Yeah, that's real. Do you think this team can make playoffs?
I think they can make the play-in. I
Hmm.
think I think they can win. Anywhere between like 35 and like 45, 46, 47 games. I think they could be up there if they're healthy.
I don't think the St. Wings make the playoffs. I feel like Tiago did a lot more in terms of helping this team succeed. I just don't have faith in this first year head coach. And there's like a lot of noise surrounding the organization. Team, they talking about moving Portland, obviously the owner being cheap. I just don't think this is good business for what Portland is as an organization. So I feel like they do have a couple of exciting moments, but I don't think they made the playoffs. And
and one other thing I wanted to add too, like we talked about this with a number of different teams, but like, what's the timeline in Portland? Because like I feel like they over exceeded last year with Tiago. Nobody expected them to be as good as they were last year. You bring in Dame halfway through the season or whatever it was, the beginning of the season, and then you go get Ja. After we just said that Denny was just hooping with the ball in his hands and seeing how he was flowing with the offense and running the show, you bringing back these two ball dominant guards. What's the timeline in Portland? You had a lot of young guys before Dame got there, and now you bring in 36-year-old Dame to be like, oh, we giving you the keys, brother.
Yeah, I think you can really stunt a guy like Denny's growth like that, and I think that creates a lot of dysfunction with him wanting out of Portland long term. The thing with Dame is like I hate to make this comparison, but kind of like the how we were talking about, oh, let Russ cook with Seattle, and you got out of Seattle and went to Denver, then you started to become a journeyman. Like I think what he did in Portland is phenomenal. But we're in the same situation where it's just going to be like Dame's going to have some crazy moments, but then it's just going to be like him being another year older. It's not a great defender, and what is the direction moving forward? And you paid him a lot of money, so it's like I would have just invested in my young talent. I would have kept Tiago and said, hey, continue to develop these guys. But now, like even with Ja's getting closer to like a vet than he is like
Mm-hmm.
a Denny or even some of these younger guys like Clinigan. And there's no disrespect to Ja, but I think that one of the problems that we've seen is just his inability to coexist with certain coaches. We've seen some of his antics on the bench, and you don't want to bring that into a new culture. So that's why I didn't really understand the trade. And I just feel like in the West, you're gonna get exposed, especially like with two guys that are older. And like you said, I don't think if Ja acts the same way he did in Memphis, I don't think his trade value is gonna be down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're holding on to pieces you can't move on from. So nobody wants this version of Dame.
Yeah.
Nobody wants this version of Ja. So you're kind of in a stalemate because you don't have any tradable assets and they're not appreciating.
And one thing that I'll say too that I want to add about Dame is like I love Dame as a player and as like what he brings to the game, but it's like when you look at other like veteran point guards, right? You look at like a Kyrie Irving, you look at even like a CJ McCollum, like them boys are fine taking the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And like outside of Dame's time in Milwaukee, when he was playing with Giannis, it's like he's never had to take a back seat. So it's like when you bring in this guy who was like the face of the franchise, he did a lot for Portland before he left, and you give him the keys, it's like, yo, like, hey, if he was able to pivot and just be like a Kyrie Irving and be a two, or be like a CJ McCollum and be a two, that could be a even better situation. Like you said, like if Denny is the clear one and Dame is going into it, like, okay, cool, Denny, this your team. I'm gonna let you rock out. If that's what it is, I think Portland could be very good.
Easily. Yeah.
We got to see what that's gonna look like though. If that's not the dynamic there, if it's not going to be Denny's team and Dame is just here to support Denny, that's where the confusion is going to come in. Even with Ja, and like you bring in another player like a Ja Morant, like you said, he's already had previous issues with coaches. If Ja's coming into this situation thinking, hey, nah, this my team, I need to get mine. That's where that confusion and that
Rift.
frustration and stuff is going to come in. They
Yeah.
got to figure out early on whose team is going to be in everybody's role and stick to it.
Yeah. And clearly define expectations because I just think that Ja at his best was elite in Memphis. I just think one of the quickest things that leaves you is athleticism. And for Ja's game, I think he was heavily reliant on athleticism. No shooting, no defense. And I just don't think that's feasible. I agree with you. I think if they were smart, Denny has to be the number one option, the face of the franchise. But because you have a first year head coach, I think he's going to cower down to Dame. And I
Do
feel like that's what's going to create.
Do you think any one of them will get moved this year?
Ja. I think I think Ja will be the most likely candidate because I think Dame's going to he came back to retire a Trailblazer, and I feel like Denny's the future, but Ja's the most expendable piece, and I could see a team that he's not happy at Portland, a team that might need had a point guard that got injured, or they just need a point guard like a Houston. If the same thing happens with Van Fleet, to trade for Ja. Um, I just think Ja needs this more than the Portland needs him. And what I mean by that is like nobody was seeing that Scoot was having a good year last year because the games were on at 12 o'clock. Nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in terms of his image, I think he kind of needs to be out of the limelight to kind of resurrect his career and low key kill. Because I think the thing is, what makes me angry about it is like Ja has had and has all the qualities of becoming the face of the franchise. I mean, he has the best shoe in the game. He had an electric play style, but his character and I think, just his ability to stay healthy, it hurt him in terms of how the league looks at him. And I think he needs to kind of reform his character first before we start talking about on the court play.
Do you think he'll be able to turn it around and become that face of the franchise type player, or you think it's over for him?
Sadly, I think it's over. Um, I, in terms of being over, I don't think he's going to be out the league, but I think it's going to be starting the start of a journeyman, which is going to be sad to see. But the only reason is because the makeup just doesn't make sense. I can see him getting irritated when he doesn't have the ball, and Dame has 40 shots, Denny is taking 30, and he's kind of be left behind. Um, I just don't know what team fits him at this point because even in terms of an exciting player, Ja's losing his excitement because even when they made the trade, I was like, okay, and I don't know what he is now. So, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Um, I feel like he would have to go to the right situation. I just don't think that this is the right situation for him.
Yeah,
Like as we talked about, like you already got Dame, you already got Denny. If he can go somewhere and like I said, similar to Dame, be that number two type of guy, like you don't have to be that one type of guy. But if you can go be somebody Robin, you could be a very good Robin.
Miami.
They need some shooting.
Yeah, that's true.
They need some
Ooh.
shooting. I,
Yeah,
I would like I said before, I take him over Davion Mitchell, but they 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 need some shooting. I would take some shooting over John Morant right now if I'm Miami. Um,
yeah.
Detroit.
No, the same problem. It
True.
runs the
Yeah.
Cade.
Yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think he could play alongside Cade though?
Don't know. I don't think so because I think Ja's off the court influence is bigger, and I just
Mm.
don't think that he sees himself as a two. I don't even think he sees himself as a two in Portland right now.
And that's the problem.
Look, Memphis.
In the back. True. I do think he can fit in a lot of places though. Like I do think there are several teams that he could go to and I wouldn't say help, but like plug in and fit a role.
Yeah,
Will that guarantee a championship? I don't know, but I feel like he could help.
yeah. I think like he definitely could help. I just feel like he's kind of in this bubble analytically where it just doesn't make sense to go trade for him at that contract
Hmm.
because of the shooting and the lack of defense. But I mean, essentially, right now, he's a better Kingston Flamings with Atlanta. And I think, the problem is Kingston is cheaper and I think has a bigger upside. The problem is just the locker room. I'm telling you, like, if he was a good guy, man, he would probably be on the move just in terms of play style. But I think people will want him on the team. I don't know how many NBA teams actually want him on the roster. That's the problem.
So okay, Where would you rank Ja as far as like point guards? Like, would you take Lamelo or Ja,
LaMelo.
even with the injuries?
Yeah. If we're talking about just strictly healthy, yeah. Because I mean, Josh had injuries too.
Okay, are you taking Ja or are you taking Darius Garland?
I think I would go Josh. But there is the thing. Are we saying no like in terms of the character and stuff like that, and the um like the antics? Like if we're taking that out,
If
I'll take Josh.
okay, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some wild character point guards. I can't really
There
think
are
of.
not many. That's the
Yeah,
point.
yeah, I can't really think of any, bro. That's at his level,
Yeah, because I mean, you got like Cam Thomas, but he's out the league,
right? Can't even get on the roster.
which shows you. I think a lot of it was character.
Yeah,
But I mean, I feel like Ja.
send him to the Kings, man.
No, I wouldn't do that because I got Darius. I wouldn't want to stank Darius growth.
They ain't stunting nothing. Let them play together. Who else
Please.
they got? Take turns. You go one possession, I go the next one. Let's go. We gonna get our shots up.
Speaking of that, let's briefly go over the Kings. I like very brief. Like let's make this the shortest segment. Um, so you still have Monta Sabonis. I think Levine's still on the roster. You got Keegan Murray still, and then but obviously all of that's gonna flow around Darius Acuff, who they just selected. Um, just go ahead and go. What are your thoughts on the King?
Blow it up. Trade everybody except Acuff. Trade everybody. Anybody can go. Y'all want them? Come get them. We're selling everybody. We would like some role players. We would like some draft capital. We're just gonna start over. Darius Acuff is our future right now. We're gonna let him rock out, and if you want anybody else on our roster, you can come get them. We're gonna be sorry this year.
If you're Detroit, would you sign and trade Duran for Sabonis or for Levine or whoever? Because Duran expressed that he wanted to go to SAC during free agency period.
My first question would be, Mr. Doran, why do you want to go to Sacramento?
I think he thinks that he probably envisions Acuff and what Acuff being his point is like a Karl Malone, John Stockton kind of duo. Not saying it is. I'm saying with his mind, he probably thinks
And that'll be 17 wins.
16. Actually.
I don't. I just don't. Once again, similar to Utah. I don't think they're in a position to like be trying to and need to be going after these type of players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just be fine with being sorry, collect some draft picks, start over. Once again, who wants to come to Sacramento? Who wants to go there and play in Sacramento? If I'm going to California, bro, I want to go to the Lakers or the Clippers. I want to be in LA.
Do you think that the Kings can make the playoffs in the next 3 years?
No, I don't think so. Because if you do start trading people, it's gonna take a while. If you don't start trading people, we've seen what this roster can do. Lose.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take a little minute.
Who do you think? Like, I guess just without budget and cap, who do you think would pair well with a Darius Acuff? The war archetype.
I think the way that the league is going, you gotta get some shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, find some three and D wing type players. Um, send a loser to a loser. Go get Michael Porter Jr.
I thought you were about to say who I thought you would say. Well, I
Who you thought I was about to say?
thought you
Devin
were about to
Booker?
say Devin Booker.
That's a worse situation than Phoenix.
I thought you were about to say it.
No, man, you might as well stay in Phoenix. If Devin Booker ever said, I want to go to Sacramento, I don't want to hear nothing about Devin Booker no more in his NBA career, bruh.
So what if this year he doesn't take the jump? Would you make a trade for Brandon Miller and go Acuff and Miller and probably trade Levine if Charlotte thinks that they can win now, or Sabonis?
If the, wait, say that last part again. I just heard
If Charlotte thinks that they can win,
would I trade Zach LaVine and Sabonis for Brandon Miller?
no, not and Sabonis. I said or like if Miller has like a Mobley type of like okay year, and Charlotte has to start paying people, and they don't think that they want to build around Miller, would you make a trade for like a Brandon Miller? Would that work well? Acuff and Miller?
I think it could, but once again, like that's not enough.
Fair.
Like Sacramento still gonna be sorry.
It's crazy to think they were battling till Game 7 with the Warriors.
For this.
For this. Then you look around the league, Halliburton, Fox.
Do you think like, because once again, similar to Sengun, we've been talking about Sabonis being potential, baby Jokic, right? Do you think he needs to do more? Do you think he needs to be in a different situation? What are your thoughts on Sabonis? Because I feel like he doesn't get a lot of like flack or like criticism for anything. He just kind of floating under the radar because he's in Sacramento and they suck.
Yeah, I feel like he's nice. I still, like I told you in the group, I still feel like Indiana fleeced. I just don't know. Even in another situation, I think he's kind of the same player. I think he gets to hide a lot in Sac. But honestly, this is another podcast topic. I think when we talk about the Mobleys, the Bams, the Sabonises, the Senguns, I'm gonna start calling them the hiders. Because all them boys like to hide. But I mean, we've seen flashes with Sabonis. I think he could be that. And like the thing is like, is this Sabonis or is this the Kings? Like, I don't know which one it is, but
also, once again, this is the NBA, bro.
It is.
If you don't want to be somewhere, bro, speak up.
He probably is like, man, I'm making money every 2 weeks. I'm good.
And see, that's the problem, right there.
I'm solid.
Content with losing. Too many of these NBA dudes are content with losing, bro. I'm sick of it. You calling them the hiders? I'm calling them the losers. Y'all are losers. I'm gonna call you what you are. You're a loser. You're not even hiding. You losing. Goodness. Yeah, I'm just gonna collect my check. I'm getting paid, bro. I don't care. I don't care if we losing. Like at least Carmelo, like when he got paid, they was at least making the playoffs.
Yeah, but you're talking about two different types of players, bro. Carmelo is clearing Domantas Sabonis as a star for sure.
All right, what about Devin Booker? Loser.
Down he went to the finals.
When?
I don't know, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
He still went to the final. He did more than Sabonis would ever done. He did more than Melo ever did.
A loser. Still a loser.
All right, bro. And speaking of the Devin, I'm not gonna let you be identified as a loser in my book.
That's what he is.
Devin
What
Booker,
has he won?
he won a Western Conference Finals.
When? Who? Hold on, no. Don't answer that. Hold on. Let me say this. Who's the only player left on that roster from the Bucks and the Suns from that series? Because I remember I sent that to you. That boy's a loser.
Consistent.
Loser.
Anyways, they drafted Koa Pete late first round and pairs him with Devin Booker. They got Jalen Green coming back. Dylan Brooks had a good year last year. Mark Williams is back. Mulach had a great summer league, actually. And the biggest addition of this offseason was Miles Bridges. So I actually have them going stock up, contrary to popular belief. I think that they made a play in last year. I think they could be a solid low win playoff team. I guess the biggest thing for them is the timeline. Again, you have D Book, who is kind of, I didn't even know he's not even 30 yet. That's what's insane. But he's still in older 20s, and you have a bunch of young guys. And the thing is, I think Dylan Brooks gives you a production offensively, but I don't necessarily think he's like a 2 offensively. So I still think that they need to make another move if they plan on using this roster and getting anywhere. But what is your thoughts on Phoenix going to this next season?
Yeah, man. Like similar to Portland last year. Like I feel like they were better than people thought they would be. Definitely better than what I thought they would be. I can
Mm-hmm.
speak for myself. Because I didn't expect Dylan Brooks to be hooping how he did last year. So shout out to Dylan Brooks. Do I think he'll be able to keep it up? I don't think so.
Yeah.
If you're a Phoenix fan, you would hope that he proves me wrong, but we're gonna see. If he can't be the 2, maybe Miles Bridges could. We saw him playing alongside LaMelo all those years before they got Brandon Miller and Khan, and pretty much holding it down. They wasn't necessarily doing nothing crazy out in the East, but he could possibly be that 2 for them. I see them possibly being in a play-in again. It wouldn't surprise me if they missed the playoffs. I just don't think this is a winning franchise and organization that Devin Booker continues to want to support and be a part of.
So I feel like it's a compliment to see how they quickly pivoted off of that stain with the KD, Brad, Bill, and D Book situation, because with the amount of assets they traded for to get those 3, for those 2, like they could have been in purgatory forever. And I feel like last year was a sign that they were starting to make the right moves. Another guy I want to talk about, who's another hider, is Jalen Green, because I feel like in terms of his contemporaries and where we put him in, I feel like he could be doing a lot more. And I think even at Houston, the reason why they traded him is because he was okay, but I don't think he was giving them enough to, get them over the hump. So I feel like he has to have a big year. I think he's like in a 22 points per game range, I believe. But there were some 17s and 18s in his career. And I think he needs to consistently be in the 24, 25 range, especially with the amount they're paying him.
Yeah, and I forgot about him, but he definitely could be that too if he's on the court, if he's available to play. Um, you would hope that, like you said, consistently getting that 22, 23 points per game. Can't disappear. Gotta show up. But I like the pieces that they have around them. You bring back a Colin Gillespie who averaged 12 points per game last year. That was a big re-signing for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think this team has enough to make it out the West or truly even contend in the Western Conference with some of those top teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So I guess, do you have any other thoughts with Phoenix, or you want to just move on?
Trade Devin Booker. That's fine. That's all I gotta say. Send him somewhere else, man. Y'all just prolonging this mediocrity run, not getting over the hump. Similar to what you said about Jalen Green. Jalen Green wasn't helping Houston get over the hump. Devin Booker is not helping Phoenix get over the hump.
Relax. That's a terrible comparison. It's not even the same class. Get the
Bruh,
gotta slide that in.
So you're fine with your best player just continuing to fall short. I don't know who's worse, Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker.
Definitely. He's made the most of what he has, man.
Which loser is worse? Which loser is worse? Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell? Robbing these organizations. Getting crazy bags out here. Lose.
He's paid like a one for sure. Amen.
Bro, you and keep losing. Nasty work.
All right, we got a couple.
I don't see why these organizations be doing it, bro.
Bro, because they trying to.
I would not be paying some of these dudes, bro.
It's a business. Everybody not trying to win. People are trying to be relevant.
That's the problem right there. The goal should be to win.
Do you know what the ticket sales would be like if Devin Booker was not in Phoenix? Who gonna come and see Jalen Green? Mala watch.
Miles Bridges.
Colin Gillespie. Get out of here. All right, we got a couple more teams to go. Let's go over to Denver. Bring back pretty much the same team with Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Murray. There were talks that Peyton Watson might be in a sign and trade. But otherwise their team kind of remains the same. What are your thoughts on Denver?
You just gotta hope that some of those young guards can take a step. Whether that's Peyton Watson, Julian Strother, Christian Braun, any of those guys, you just gotta hope that one of them takes off, two of them takes off. You know what you got with Murray, you know what you got with a healthy Aaron Gordon. Cam Johnson can knock down shots. You know what you got with Jokic. You just gotta hope that some of those role players can step up. Like I said, specifically that guard position, that shooting guard position, and see what you got from there. I don't think it's too much more to say about Denver, bro. Like they just got to get over that hump.
Yeah, like I low-key think they're kind of in the same position as Minnesota, honestly, because I mean they run back the same team, but I feel like everybody's going to be waiting to see what Jokic does at 27, but he already declined to sign an extension. And I feel like he could be on the move. Like if they don't have anything going for them in the next 2 years, I feel like they've gone from that middle of the pack team that's, scary for every team in the West, where I think OKC and San Antonio have started to separate themselves from the top of the top. And now their future looks bleak because Jokic can only do so much. And Murray kind of seeing the sunset of his career, I think they have more questions to me than answers.
Yeah, but Jokic only being able to do so much is still MVP type level.
For sure. But I
think as long as you have him, you got a shot. Now, if we get into the conversation of is he going to leave after next season or whatever the case may be, we can have that conversation when it comes. But as of right now, Jokic is still Jokic.
Yeah, but I don't think they have a shot, to be honest with you. And it's nothing on Jokic because we know what he can do. He's going to be averaging a triple-double. But I think the GM with Mike Malone, but like they did a poor job building this roster out. I mean, you got Strother, you got Peyton Watson, and even giving Christian Braun that contract, you're very guard reliant, and I just don't think that you have the necessary depth in order to keep up with some of these teams in the West. I don't think they can win this year.
I think they'll be right there in the mix still. Like I agree that OKC and San Antonio are probably the two best teams in the West, but I think Denver is right there. Like I think Denver can easily be third, and depending on the matchup, they could make it out the West.
Is Denver better than Minnesota, like roster?
Absolutely.
Are they better than? Trying to think of another team. Houston.
I think, like I said, bro, I think they're better than all of those other teams in the West outside of OKC and San Antonio.
Yeah.
Like consistently, we've seen Denver win games with this same roster.
Mm-hmm.
They just need those one or two players to step up in the right moments come postseason.
And be healthy. And Aaron
They
Gordon.
right, exactly. If Aaron Gordon is healthy, that changes that series.
For sure. And I guess that's the big if for me. Yeah.
So that's my thing with Denver. It's like they're right there. Like they need some luck on their side, of course. But like I don't think that they're in this bad of a situation compared to, Minnesota or Houston or any of these other teams that's out west that we've talked about so far. Like I said, like I think OKC and San Antonio are a step above, mainly because of youth and the depth that they have. But other than that, I feel like Denver's right there.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you think that this team can win a championship?
Potentially, depending on matchups and health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can say that. Depends on how they look come back because it could easily be a. I see what you're saying. It could easily be a New York Knicks situation where they're just there and they strike while they're iron's hot. I guess it's just for me. I've seen Aaron Gordon get hurt, back to back years actually, and we're banking on Murray having a healthy year as well. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I think you're right in terms of the team. It's just the big ifs on their team that I really have questions about moving forward. And I guess if they don't win this year and come up short, oh, I'll ask you this: who do you think is more likely to leave, AE or Jokic?
Like who do I think will leave first?
Yeah.
If Jokic's contract is up after this year, it wouldn't surprise me if he's going. I feel like AE has a little more, I guess, wiggle room in a sense if he feels like it can work with LaMelo.
Mm-hmm.
I think that LaMelo move was a move that Minnesota made to try to keep Anthony Edwards around a little bit longer. And
Mm-hmm.
if he believes that they can do something together, he might stick around just a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Jokic, who's like, bro, I'm at the top of my game. I'm one of the best players in the league. Jokic seemed like the no nonsense type person, like just want to hoop and win. If them boys get dropped off early in the playoffs again, oh yeah, he's gone. Now where he's going, I don't know because that can be a little tricky. Like
I think,
maybe LA with, like you said, with Luca, build on that international brand in a sense. Give
yeah,
up Walker Kessler and something else, maybe some draft picks and something. If you have to trade them, but I'm sure you would. It probably could end up being a sign and trade situation. Boston, maybe.
that will make my heart
I, could,
happy.
I couldn't see him in that green uniform, but
What about New York?
I don't know. I don't think the Knicks will blow it up
Uh,
unless something crazy happens this year.
yeah, I was about to say I don't think you're going to win back to back. And with Cat's contract, I would. I think you have the best package. You can send
Yeah,
Michael, send Cat.
yeah, but I just don't think they would do that. I don't think the Knicks would do that. I get what you're saying, but I don't think the Knicks would make that move.
Yeah. Hmm. All right. The team they lost to, OKC. The um, actually, I think they were behind
They lost to
San
Minnesota,
Antonio.
but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. My bad. Um, so I guess a couple of questions I have in terms of OKC, who got rid of a lot of players, like role players on their team. Got rid of Isaiah Joe. He went to Detroit. They lost Aaron Wiggins. He went to the Hawks, and then they lost Lou Dort, who also went to the Hawks. Uh, I think so. Just an initial thought. I think the biggest thing for OKC is they have an embarrassment of riches, but also to the draft picks that they have to pan out. Like your Thomas Sorber, he's been out for a while. Got another guy, Ben Skirts. Ben's is I think it's from Iowa. Nice player. But he's gonna have to pan out because I think the biggest thing is if not Jokic, but if SGA has to sit down, what does that bench look like? I think they still have Caruso, so defensively they'll be good along with Kassan Wallace. I think they're going to be still a dominant team, but I think one of OKC's claims of fame was they found these guys and they were able to give significant minutes, like a AJ Mitchell. Whenever the team was going through a drought or when somebody was hurt, and I think J Dub will be back. The other Jalen Williams popped in the San Antonio series, so I think he's going to be a weapon, probably going to be used more this season. But I guess some of those other role players that when Mark Denholt tries to go into his bench, can they provide on the same level that like Isaiah Joe was performing at and Lou Dort? But I think I still have their stock. I want to hold and see because I don't think they can really go up anymore from defending champions like before the Knicks. But in terms of where this league is going, I'm just curious to know what it looks like for them to bank on some of these younger guys, especially if they don't want to go into the second apron. So, yeah.
And I will say one thing that I did notice about OKC during this past postseason run was like some of the guys that they kept around were the guys that were popping in the playoffs.
Right.
Like Kassan Wallace, hell of a job on both ends. AJ Mitchell was hitting some big shots. Jared McCain was hitting some big shots. A lot of these guys that's still over there step right in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think they have to rely on any of these guys that they drafted. Maybe Mara if somebody gets in foul trouble, but like other than that, like if they want to run a 9-10 man rotation, they'll be just fine.
I agree.
I think they're in a good spot, man. I think that the health is gonna be big. Specifically J Dub. We saw with him out and him banged up, that's a totally different team. Because can Chet be a two consistently? That's the big question. If J Dub is not out there, can Chet be a two consistently? He didn't really show it, and against the Spurs, you got to come with that dog, Chet.
Yeah, I think, but I feel like the thing with Chet though is like it wasn't like he was terrible. He just wasn't aggressive. And hopefully this is not a Ben Simmons trajectory, but like I feel like if he can just be aggressive, I think they didn't even ask for him to get 40. They just needed you to get 15 because I think he would have been right there. And I think, presumably if you meet San Antonio again, like you're gonna have a lot of mismatches, especially if they're trying to hide Wemby and not trying to expend a lot of defensive time. But like he just wasn't taking shots. He was passing up open threes. He wasn't being aggressive against the rim. But I feel like any other team outside of San Antonio, like he still was decent. So I think people are making a bigger deal of it just because of how it looked versus San Antonio. But I think he's still all defensive teams. He's still making, I think he made all NBA, but I think he's still that kind of caliber player. So I wouldn't move off of him too quickly.
And I'm not necessarily saying move off of him, but my point in saying that is like if J Dub is not out there, we need you to be aggressive.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
We can't have you coasting, chilling, acting like you scared because we know what you can do. We seen you do it all season.
Yeah.
But when this man Wemby steps on the court, you turn into a boiled egg or something. Like, bro, hoop. I seen you do it versus Jokic. I seen you do it versus Embiid. I seen you do it versus all these other centers. But when Wemby come out here, and that's like I said, Those are the top two teams in the West. If it's anybody you got to worry about, it's them. It's San Antonio.
Right.
So you need to come prepared for that matchup.
Yeah.
If J Dub is out there, that changes it because
Yeah.
now you could be the third option. You can chill and get 10, 15 points a game, and nobody gonna make a big deal about it. But if J Dub not out there, yo, we need 20, 25.
Yeah. And see, even that right there is like he can't slot himself based on who's healthy. He has to just naturally say, I have to have a one mentality, and I just happen to be a three. Prime example, VJ Edgecombe. I don't think VJ Edgecombe sees himself as a three. I think he's just naturally going to be it just because of who's on the roster. I feel like Chet has slid into that three. Like I can just chill in the corner and watch J Dub and Shea. And then when J Dub goes out, now he's shocked because he's in a different mentality than what he's originally we comfortable as. That
Mhm.
can't be his mantra going into this next season. He has to see himself as a number one option, and he just happens to be slotted into that three situation. So
Absolutely right.
I still think that they're a big contender. I would be curious to know how the league, like the officials and players, adjust to Shea. Obviously last year was dominated with the flopping conversations. I
Mhm.
want to know how the refs. I think Adam Silver doesn't want that to be the culture of the league. So I definitely can see the calls, the whistle being swallowed in a sense. Um, and I want to know how Shea's game adjusts to that because like during the San Antonio series when he wasn't getting calls, I'm like, man, this man is still cold. Like,
Yeah.
don't get it, messed up. But it's like I don't. I think he needs to be looking to score rather than looking to get fouled. And if he does
Mhm.
that, I feel like he can still be that MVP level player. So
Yeah, he does a good job getting to his spots, man. Despite the foul calls and everything, like he doesn't let anybody rush him. He takes his time, he gets to his spots, and he knocks it down.
yeah. All right, let's talk Clippers. Went and got Keaton Wagler in the draft, and a lot of their roster is being held up with this Kawhi situation. So presumably they're gonna have Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick. You still have a couple of quality pieces, like you have Benedict Mathurin on the roster. You lost Zubac, and I think that they got Henry Vassar in the trade um, on draft night. But that's really an overview of that team. But I think the biggest thing is they wanted to kind of get rid of the you know mishaps with the Kawhi situation and wanted
Mhm.
to kind of turn the page in terms of their culture. So in terms of like stock up or stock down, like you still have Darius Garland. I feel like they can win games, but I would say it's down temporarily because it's just not no longer the expectations when Kawhi was there, and the rest of the guys like PG and them. So I just feel like they're kind of going to regress back to what the Clippers we knew growing up.
Yeah, I think it's a slight rebuild. It's not a full rebuild.
Hmm.
They're definitely going to try to go out and try to win games. Will they be successful in winning games? Who knows? We'll see. But they have some solid pieces. I don't think they'll be one of the worst teams in the West, but I don't see them making the playoffs or anything. I think they'll be in that 35 to 30 to 40 win window. I think they'll be in that range.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sold on them.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what Brandon Ingram brings, I feel like this team can win games. I guess the biggest thing is, like we've said with the majority of these teams, is like, what's the timeline? Because you have some guys like Keaton who you kind of want to build their franchise around. I just don't think he's ready yet. And,
Hmm.
for Ty Lue and the expectations with Steve Ballmer, you in a new stadium, I think they were planning on, being championship contenders. Are we gonna Are you going to keep Darius around to build with Keaton Wagler? Because I think Keaton's better with the ball in his hand. What does that look like moving forward? I don't know, but yeah,
And specifically for the Clippers, but like similar to the timeline conversation of like winning and all of that, but like who sticks? Because like, I feel like Similar, like you said, with the timeline, it's like, are we letting Keaton Wagler rock out? Are we letting Garland run the show? Are we running the offense through Brandon Ingram? Like, who's gonna be that play, or those players that stick around, on the other side of the rebuild? And then what does the other side of the rebuild look like? Because are you going after draft picks? Are you going after free agents? Like, I feel like they have a lot of questions that they need to answer, and I don't think they'll be able to answer them this year. I feel like we won't see the real Clippers team until either the trade deadline, if they decide to make moves, or next offseason.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I don't think this team's making the playoffs personally. I think they might shock some teams and compete for a play-in position, but I don't think they're going to be serious contenders at all. Um, Golden State, I think it's a travesty, with everything that has happened post, let's say, honestly, we could argue post KD leaving, but they won a championship after that. But I honestly think with Steph in his prime, the front office has sucked in terms of building around Steph. Obviously, you got Jimmy Butler, you got rid of Clay, but I think year after year, you're getting prime Steph that's kind of low key towards the end of his run, but still prime Steph. And Draymond takes a pay cut. I'm just like, if you're at Golden State, you have to land Bron. Like, there's no way that Philly can beat me in that and just getting Bron. It all aligned. He could stay on the West Coast. He's played with Steph and Team USA, and it wouldn't have been totally far from his family and friends. And I just feel like this was really a shot at Golden State in terms of where they think they are versus where they actually are. Because I don't think this team is a good team. You're going to be missing Butler for half of the season with the Achilles injury. Like, well, I think ACL. But I guess number one, so Draymond opted out of that player option, the 28 million a year, I think it was. Do you resign him back to that? Or do you just say, here's what we're going to offer you, because I don't think he can get that anywhere else? And where do you see Golden State this year? And also, too, where do you see them past this year?
Once again, we got to figure out a timeline specifically for players, because, like, if I'm Golden State at this point, you might as well just let these guys retire as a warrior at this point. Like, Steph, Draymond, appreciate y'all service, but whether you want to force them to retire or they're ready to go, cool. But we got Steve Kerr too. Peace. All y'all can go at the same time, and we can move on from this. I like I know you mentioned Bron just now, but like, even that, like, that would have sold tickets, but like, I'm not taking them to come out the West or nothing. Like, I don't think Bron is moving the needle that much for this Golden State team with everything else that they got on this roster.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, I think this year, I think they're gonna be in that similar, fighting for a play-in type role. Once again, you gotta hope that Steph can stay healthy. When Jimmy comes back, you gotta hope that he can be healthy. But like, other than that, it's a lot of young guys that we just gotta wait and see what happens. Like, we don't know what we're gonna get from any of these young guys on a night to night basis consistently. Like, one of them could pop every now and then, but like, consistently, we don't know what we're gonna get from these young guys. Al Horford, I don't know why they signed him again.
to a 2-year deal.
Bro, go home. Get these old dudes out of here, bro. Respectfully. Like, I think I saw something earlier today that was like, yo, the GM is ready for the post Curry. Like, he's ready to build the team post Curry. I think they're just waiting around, just waiting. And like, sometimes you got to give people a little push. Whether that's you, like I said, forcing them to retire or trading them. Like, I wouldn't want to trade them if I'm the Warriors, either one of them guys. But if you feel like that's what's best for the team and the organization, you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
especially if they don't want to retire. if if I have a conversation with Steph Curry, he tell me he don't want to retire, brother, I gotta trade you. I'm sorry.
I told you this. I told you this like months ago. It's time. It's time. Like
Yeah,
make the
if
transition.
they don't, like I said, like they don't have any young pieces on this roster. That's like I gotta keep this guy.
Yeah. I saw a report that said that Yaxel Lindebord is being told he's gonna start. That's crazy. And you're kind of banking on like a Will Richard, and you got Pods, but Steph doesn't deserve that kind of roster. No disrespect to those guys, but I feel like at this point in his career, he looks literally across the country and sees Braun with JB, Tyrese, Embiid, and he's looking at his roster and he's like, man, like,
Me and Draymond chilling. We
right.
got Jimmy Butler.
But if Steph did get traded, like, where would you want to see him, and what do you think is the best fit?
I don't know. It would have to be a win now situation, but like somewhere that needs a point guard. So Miami,
Houston? Oh, yeah.
Miami, Houston, yeah. If you want to stay out west, shoot. I don't know if they would do it, but hey, if I'm Steph Curry, San Antonio, I don't know if they. I don't think they would do it, but
Yeah.
if it were up to me, I'm going to teams that I know I can win a championship with, possibly.
Boston?
It's a short list. Nah, that's too much of a load.
Gotcha.
Super pause. Super pause. Oh my god. Wow. My bad, y'all. Disregard that. Crazy. But nah, I don't know, man. I don't know if Boston would be the right situation for him. I don't know, man. Houston, San Antonio,
Charlotte?
just to go back home.
Literally it. That's it. I can see it now. Him, Dale.
They gonna go hire go sign Seth just for the vibes. One last run on a Bron and Bronny.
What we can do what LaMelo and LiAngelo could never do.
Them Ball brothers could never.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you in terms of blowing it up. I just feel like people extend things longer than they need to. Like this jump should have probably been over about 5 years ago, realistically.
And I think more teams are seeing that. It's like if you don't want it to end like this, you gotta let people walk sooner. And I mean, shoot, you see it with Clay. That man Clay ain't been right since he left.
Yeah, because I don't think he was ever meant to leave. Like, I think some players are great in the confines of their system and the team. Like Draymond Green, he would be a decent defender, but outside of Golden State, he would not look like a Hall of Famer. We just got to be honest, and that's okay. But yeah, I think it's done. All right, let's talk about the last team. I think that's the that made no moves, no trades, no signings. The New Orleans Pelicans.
Your boys. Them your boys, ain't it?
Joe Dumars. Then they're still harping on him building that championship roster with Detroit, but outside of that, he hasn't been that good of a GM. I think they definitely do have some talent. I saw some pictures of Zion, looks in crazy shape, but I want to know how that translates on the court. timelines once again. You got Jordan Poole, you got Trey Murphy, you got Zion, but then you got the young guys, Poole and Derek Queen. Um, I just I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, are we expecting to get in the playoffs, or is this we're going to build around these younger guys? Because I think Derek Queen is developing into a solid pro. But I guess playing just alongside Zion, you got Evans MC. Like, what are your thoughts? I think I'm trending towards a stock down, but I just don't know what the expectations are.
They they low key kind of like, and then this is gonna be a might be a bad example, but I'm gonna say it anyways. They low key remind me of like the Cowboys. It's like, yo, this is our year. We can make the playoffs. We basing this off of like potential or what it could be. It's just like, bro, we're running back the same roster for the third straight year, second straight year, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You have these tradable pieces, bro. These dudes either can't stay healthy or we're not winning enough games to put us in a serious playoff contention, serious threat in the Western Conference. You eventually got to do something, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come back with the same team and be like, oh, we just gonna run it back. No, bro. The same thing keeps happening over and over.
Yeah.
Move Zion, Trey, Herb, somebody, Jordan Poole, DeJounte, something. You gotta do something, bro. You gotta make a big move, bro.
Yeah.
You can't just keep running it back and thinking something different is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be the same question every year. We have the same questions about the Pelicans every year. Will they be able to stay healthy and will they be able to get over the hump? Will they make the playoffs? It's the same questions.
Yeah. And I kind of hate how like Zion's getting praised, which shout out to him living a healthier lifestyle, but like it took you this long, like, and what does that look like now? Because I think he's an undersized big, and I gotta go look at his shooting splits, but I feel like the majority of his career has been defined based on his athleticism,
Similar
and
to Down.
that's the first thing that leaves. And so if you're a contender, if I'm having to pay him another contract, do I really trust that in the next 5 years he's going to stay healthy and he's going to stay fit? And what does a 30-year-old Zion look like in terms of just explosiveness?
But also, if I am another team, once again, he could be a Robin. He could be a great Robin.
Do you think he can? Do you think
I
he
think
can
he
be a
could.
two and win?
Huh?
Do you think he can be a two and win an NBA championship?
I think he can in the right situation. You don't think he can?
No.
Why not?
I think three at best. Go look at every team. Like, I don't think a undersized big is not winning a championship. Like, I mean, okay, since we're here, would you would you rather have Zion or J-Dub?
What's the rest of my team look like?
No, I'm just saying twos. I don't know.
I don't know, bro, because we haven't seen Zion in the two. Like, if he's healthy, I'm taking Zion.
We haven't seen Zion two. He was with Brandon Ingram.
That was different.
What you mean? It was him as a two.
That's debatable. First of all,
I don't agree.
I don't think Zion has ever been a two in the NBA, bro.
I think he was a two this year.
Who's the one?
I didn't watch much New Orleans basketball.
Trey Murphy averaged 21. Zion averaged 21.
Trey Murphy was the one.
If that's your one, yeah, the same thing's about to happen again this year. They about to be sorry.
Yeah, but my point is, I said a two on a championship team. I'm going through every championship team and I'm looking at the twos and I'm like, I'm taking every other two before I take Zion.
I would take a healthy Zion over J Dub, me personally.
Oh my gosh, no.
Healthy Zion is 27-8.
Okay.
Is it not?
I'll look at the stats. Zion a Bam.
Zion.
Are we saying that he wasn't healthy since 2020? Because he hasn't done 2027 since 2020.
He had 20. He had 26 and 7 in 22, 23.
26 is not 20.
Bruh, 1 point, bruh. Get out of here, bruh. Come on, bruh.
Okay, 22, 23. That's you. When I said with D Book, you're like, oh, how long was that ago? But 22, 23. How long was that ago?
We talking about healthy Zion.
Yeah.
The man played 70 games in 23, 24. He averaged 22, 5, and 5.
Solid.
Is that not good numbers? Is that not good numbers as a two though?
He's in New Orleans.
Now he's in New Orleans.
Who else you gonna pass the ball to?
Now he's in New Orleans. Was Brandon Ingram not on that team?
He was. Healthy. Would you take Zion or JB? Actually, I'll go since my bad, I forgot. Zion or Maxey?
I would take Maxey.
Trying to think of some more twos. Zion AR.
Probably Zion.
I think I'll go AR. Zion or Franz?
I'm not a big Franz fan, me personally, but I don't think that would fit. Paolo and Zion together? That's gross.
No shooting.
None. No size. They both like 6'8".
What are you talking about? You say Apollo and Zion?
Yeah.
Apollo is 6'10".
He don't play like it. I'll tell you that.
Word. You got any more thoughts on the Western Conference? I think we got through all the teams. Let me know if I'm missing one.
Nah. I think that was everybody. Memphis.
Oh.
Did we talk Memphis?
Oh,
Memphis. But yeah, Memphis. I mean, Cam Boozer. They got Jeremy Grant. Other than that,
Cedric Howard,
Zach Edey. They got some good young pieces. I don't think they're gonna do nothing though.
Yeah, just
they're not making the playoffs or the play-in.
Not at all. They can't even get the first pick. They still, yeah. I think the biggest thing is just looking at Boozer's development, see if he can be that franchise cornerstone they need. What he looks like. Like, kind of, we're doing auditions. Who looks good next to Boozer?
Yeah.
You go find him a guard.
Yeah, because I mean, you got the front court pretty much solidified. I think it's going to be interesting to see where they play Boozer at because, like I said, they got Jeremy Grant who can play, the 3 or the 4. So can Boozer. So if they decide to play him at the 4, if they play him more on the perimeter at the 3, that's going to be interesting to see. GG, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they could build a solid team, but I don't think it's going to be in the next 2 years. I think it's just going to be slowly building.
They got to keep stacking some draft picks. So we'll see. They got to be healthy too, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'll probably try to see if they can scour something like the Washington guards, maybe like a Bubba Carrington, Bilal, somebody like that, or even with Utah. See if Keontae doesn't sign, go getting a Keontae George. Um, yeah, something like that. Anyway, that was our 2 hour Western Conference preview for this next year. If you missed the beginning of the episode, Braun signed to the 76ers. So we got to clip that up. So I think that all season is going to kind of die down after this Braun news. Obviously, still waiting on the decision with Kawhi Leonard to see if that actually goes through. Um, oh, real quick, since we're at the halfway mark, give me some of your immediate thoughts about the WNBA season thus far and this All Star game tonight.
Yeah. Where should I start? I think the All Star game would be pretty good. I feel like they usually go out there and pretty much have a good time. The vibes are usually pretty high out there. Nothing too serious, so hopefully nobody gets hurt or anything. We able to have a strong ending to the second half of the season. Um, we got some teams that is gonna keep hooping. Fee just came back healthy. So we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna see how her and Olivia Miles continue to play together moving forward. If they're able to continue their winning ways and stay atop near the top of the standings in the WNBA. Golden State's been playing good. Aces has been playing good. I think it's probably like 6 or 7 teams that can possibly win it all. But it really just depends on the night and the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna see what happens coming down the stretch. Hopefully teams can continue to stay healthy and we have some good basketball down the stretch.
Who are you most excited to see tonight play?
I don't know, bro. I feel like everybody gonna be letting it fly. I don't know if anybody would be on a minutes restriction. But I mean, shoot, they gonna be shooting the air out the ball, bro. Um, I don't know who I'm excited to see. Uh, I don't know, bro. It's a lot of exciting basketball out there, bro. And
Yeah,
I know they're gonna be letting it fly, bro. Everybody gonna be shooting threes.
cool. Yeah, I think definitely a lot of great elite talent in the league, which is good to see. Um, I think the biggest thing is just like, can the teams at the top, stay at the top? Obviously, with Minnesota, the Lynx getting feedback right before the All Star break, what do they look like going to this, second half of the season? You got teams like Indiana who had a lot of questions at the beginning, but I think to make a run, and obviously you still have Las Vegas, um, and even like the New York Liberty. I guess the other thing too is like I talked to you in the group was with like the Seattle Storm, like terrible team, but I think they have a lot of upside in terms of their future. So I guess the race for Juju is probably going to be happening soon. So seeing
Yeah,
what that young talent looks like in terms of like some potential teams that could be nasty if everybody
yeah,
develops.
yeah. And then you got Connecticut going to Houston next year. That'll be big. So looking at them being one of the worst teams in the league as well, down there with Seattle. So yeah, if somebody can end up going to Houston, might be a better situation than going to Connecticut. Or at least you
Yeah,
can have some fun out in Houston.
too much, man. But yeah, man, this is that's it. We got a lot of exciting content coming your way. As always, like, share, and subscribe, man. Share this with a friend. And let us know what you want us to talk about. We have some more a little lull before the college football season, and we have the second half of the WNBA season. So we promise to get you more content weekly, so that you just continue to listen to the One Shot and share it. Let us know your thoughts. And as always, man, we appreciate the love that y'all have given us so far, and we'll be on every social media platform to share Win Shot content with you guys. As always, peace.
Peace.